this map.
I've seen.
Yeah, it gives
The
more
VP play before,
context
but I
to why
haven't
so
seen
many teams are
OG.
losing the
I
first
do
map
know
tickets to
about
Spider Islands and opt for the
S2 and
defense they can go.
Tanuki.
But the
I
aggressive
took
spawn
Sal
holds, but
a lot.
OG gonna be having
Tanuki, I
access to
know,
the
but I
bans.
do
First
know,
of all,
I'm pretty
and
sure he
no
plays Wolverine.
surprises,
VP,
Fightella is
I've
going to
seen
be
them playing
denied
the first,
immediately. Virtus Pro are going to be
Rivals Fight
answering
Night.
back, removing
They won
Tanuki
the
for the
EU part of
Wolverine.
it.
He
They
has been
played
able to fall
clean.
back onto the Star-Lord.
Pretty
Maybe
clean.
OG have to
They
burn a
got Nivix,
protection slot to make sure that Virtus
Parkour,
Pro
Finzi,
can't diminish
Sci-Fi,
Tanuki's
DPO.
pool
I don't
even
know why
further
I'm
on the
just saying
second
that.
ban.
Like, you can't read it, but you
Yeah,
can't
so
read
far
it,
when
so
it comes to the history of Virtus Pro, their bans have been very straightforward, really. It has mostly been banning
So
out
they're
the
banning
Wolverine
Tanuki's,
up until I played up against Fnatic, running into Black Tail's Groot, then the ban
Their
came in
Hello's
there,
banned on the
and the
other side.
things started to be shown up a lot more from Nevix. So it really does feel, from speaking to Nevix yesterday,
also
that there might be a couple more twists and turns here when it comes to the
Venus
veto,
protected, so they
but
have to
ends up
ban
being
them
able to
more
lock
to
in
remove
the
the
Venom,
combo,
especially on a map
the
like
big
this
lock
where the
combo.
dive possibilities are pretty strong and impactful.
Understandable. If you're
Don't
not
know
comfortable
really at this
playing
point
the mirror,
what
just
Virtus
ban
Pro
them
want
more.
to take off. The
And if you
Loki's a
wanna
good
play some
shout
dive
considering
too,
that
I
support
really like the
backline of
Loki
Alex
dive.
and Ken has
Ooh,
been
they banned
exceptional.
Loki
Ken
when
might
they
be
protected the Venom,
potentially
so it's gonna be
contesting
interesting. So are
Saipe
they
when it
gonna
comes to
dive
that
themselves?
best Loki in EMEA, perhaps.
Does Fight
Yeah,
play
EMEA,
Penny
I would
Parker?
say,
doubt
not
it.
quite the role. I still want to see how he matches up
I'm
against
pretty sure
Harvey's
Fi and
Loki
Sci-Fi
when we
are
head
the
into
supports. I
the
think they
season
might be.
1.5 for the NA region. But something that we did get to see when
Yeah,
Virtus
Fi
Pro and
players
OG matched up, because remember, these two teams did actually match up. It was
Now they've opened up the chance to play up against some of the other teams in the EMEA. But here we are, a dawn of a new era, the first ever Marvel Rivals Invitational for EMEA, 100k prize pool, I think 60 of it going to the main team here. So it's a great opportunity for Virtus Pro to really put themselves in the history books, put themselves on the map. They're defending first over on Shin Shibuya, and really they need to be careful of this dive. Tanuki and Enzo are looking and hunting.
Oh, what a bionic hook into the Trooper's first follow-up so that Enzo is sent into Arcade before the rest of his team can help keep that Venom standing. This is the problem for OG. They're running that dive. They don't have the Doctor Strange. They can't just portal their way behind and take away that particular position for the defenders to fall back into. And you can see that Sparker right next to him, Dritro, absolutely untouchable currently.
It's a good way to play. Some of the attacking teams that even try this of just getting into this room, being able to contest and hot step, to refresh, group up, make it really hard to be isolated by these dive vanguards like Venom. So Sparker farming up the kills, does have that Kraken's impact. Gonna come out relatively early. The slam hasn't quite hit, but it has warded away OG that have to sort of soft reset, which is going to buy them a little bit more time on the point for Virtus Pro, who have built up both their support ultimates. That Fate of both worlds
looks like most
on Luna Snow and Saipe on the Invisible Woman having the invisible boundary.
Oh, and there's potentially going to be a stagger. No, it's Shield into Bulwark coming on through
I guess
from
the
both the
thought
and the
process
Magneto
is
to
like,
keep Tanuki standing so he can build
as
up
long
a
as
little
we're
bit
inside,
to
if
the
they do and try
Galactic
for this
Legend
point,
Solid ultimate. Unfortunately for him, both part of his ultimates are going to be still available for the side of Virtus Pro, so OG not going to be able to levy that duelist into burning one of those particular mainstays to allow VP to continue just anchoring. Dance Floor comes on out, but it's murder on Sparker's side. They're still able to find the damage through all of the healing, and VP remains standing.
It's one big ultimate that was used. In fact, two. Zetsu also using his Kraken's impact. Bosses are reset, but it's not doom and gloom for OG yet. Despite half of the time being wicked away on this first point, they do have 4 ultimates to go with, forcing out that invisible boundary. But one thing that's really worth highlighting for Virtus Pro is how they use these ultimates, how they balance them well, the timings. It really feels that they're so disciplined in these places. Now we're looking at Dreedra to have a Fate of both worlds. If it's needed, that's a really good bit of CC.
Maybe they can get the
Feast
Luna
of the
ult
Abyss,
out
the
early,
Venom
the
ultimate's
Starlet
going to be
ult's
used
gonna be
to try and hold on to stuff here. People have been pulled out, and now that support ultimate's being used.
Mag can try to kill the Luna, maybe.
Ken having to burn through the Fate of both worlds to stay standing because of the force physics coming on through from the side of Ken. That means that Tanuki in the second stage of this fight, when the Invis boundary has dropped, is going to potentially be the answer for OG to start putting into board percentage. You can actually see that Enzo's Venom has gone deep to pull 5 attention, so the Psylocke is absent from this particular matchup, doesn't have the dance of the butterflies to put onto point to punish the fact that OG didn't have structured ultimates to keep everybody standing, and Enzo's Venom was the hero of the hour. OG complete the push and managed to take A, putting themselves into B.
Yeah,
There had
Tanuki
to
just
have
sitting
been an
pretty, I think, with a
opportunity, bro.
Galactic Legend. Enzo forcing out both those support ultimates. It's 89% for Saipe. He obviously used it in the fight just before Enzo dove in with his ultimate. But Tanuki, once he had that security that he wasn't going to get shut down by support ultimate, that lock-in is so good at being able to clear up some of these fights. The backline is going to be under a lot of threat, and this is a very early fight for Virtus.pro to be taking here. It's just under 3 minutes on the clock, and some fights have been traded out in cases, but Enzo now needs to be careful. He's got 2 players looking and peeling for him as he tries to fight on and catch the supports. But the way the Virtus.pro are playing, just inside, it's so difficult for Magneto to get in any of this damage. He has so much to mitigate. And even though he's close to Meteor M, where do you place it when everybody's just hiding in the side of this room?
Especially because you can just close the door in the ultimate with a group wall
Most people
over
are
the door frame. There's the Meteor, and is it going to be able to find the value that is looking for? Aya Agamotto comes on through from Finzi. VP answering aggression with aggression.
I don't think it was a good play by Etsu. I think he should have saved his hook for the strange
find the
maybe
eliminations that Virtus.pro are looking for. They're going to try and sustain and potentially
Since he died again,
there's going to be the turning power as Fires down to the butterflies. Isn't finding any of the damage. It's Tanuki who's coming in clutch. The group wall is diminished down, and Tanuki's ultimate
really
remains the bionic hook
They're
into
holding
the
him
trooper's fist,
as close as possible to the spawn,
less of his strategists. And OG should be able to once again see themselves through the fight.
I guess they have more distance to cover, even if they die.
Very clean in the end, but I think Moxie, it was a fight that ended up going a long time in a pretty unorthodox place to be taking these engagements. So the main thing that Virtus.pro have done is just buy time and got most of those attacking ultimates out of the way. Kraken's impact here is good for Etsu, but you do have that invisible boundary for Saipe. He has it available, didn't use it in that last fight. Team of Virtus.pro were happy to go down.
Until
they just need to buy time. Now they have a good chance of winning this fight.
Yeah, Sparker doesn't have to worry about burning out a strategic ultimate. There's none on the side of Alex or Ken. He's going to be able to take down Enzo, which results in the reset to take down Tanuki. And also, Sacred Claim over onto that high ground. The call has come through from OG that they just have to go for a full reset. Regroup, not allowing Sparker the time to build up to another impact and potentially allowing Etsu to come in with his win condition, but something has to be done to pressure Saipe. So burning the invis boundary is going to come in the form of Enzo diving deep into the full throng of the team, but Saipe holds that cool.
No,
they just hold it on. There was a bit of a mismatch of timings. I think Enzo going in deep, trying to force these ultimates out early, so then Tanuki has a bit of space to work with. Not far away from having Galactic Legend. Feast of the Abyss seems to be really good at that, trying to force out the invisible boundary, but you have Fate of both worlds to look after as well. That's
still really good.
You get prison that comes in off Nefix on the group, and the Meteor M needs to be watched out for up in the high ground. I think hitting the bridge and not quite connecting onto any eliminations, but OG, now we're getting into overtime, no time left on the clock. It's there to try to hold things going. Kraken's impact, gonna try and clear stuff in the skies. Tanuki, he was one of the defining factors that got OG off of this first point. Everybody's hiding inside. Cloudy with a chance of legends. Now they're going to try and fight back onto the point. Sparker has that Kraken's impact, just waiting for a chance to reset. The Aya Agamotto catching two allows that space. That's a great maelstrom from Finzi, and I don't think that this objective is going much further.
Yeah, not if Sparker has anything to say about it. Finzi, yet again, takes advantage of the amount of chaos OG's attention fully forced.
Like a small mistake can just absolutely hamper your chances on a map.
So there's TP. Let's see if there's TP in the high ground or in the
What are you expecting here?
I think he was looking to try and CC stun Finzi's portal from potentially coming on through, or maybe just scout out when the portal would come out, because that Venom was very far up. Finzi on that Strange has given the ticket for Virtus.pro to pass unchecked through that chokehold, but they're still being held before they can get to the point. Snade's on the front line, and you can see the silhouette, of Enzo. Once again, concerning the back line, so the attention is split.
You're supposed to just chill behind.
It's just both teams taking chunks out of each other. OG playing this map twice, haven't won on it so far. Whereas for Virtus.pro, they've only played it once. It's not really been something that's used against them, but we have seen some long overtime brawls happening on the objective. Lots of damage to try to balance out. So stuff like the group being able to take those fights. Tanuki has found some nice picks. The barrage may be able to sort of clear out a kill. They go low on HP. But the support is working. You've got
doesn't have
Luna Snow
anything
also
yet.
with the Idol Aura just placed on him,
Invis in
sharing out
3,
some of the
2,
healing
1.
that's provided to the rest of the team, especially in these cleave
the
positions.
advantage.
But Virtus Pro,
Did
even
you
though I
always
think they're a
up
player
soon?
down in this engagement, now it's maybe reset at this point. They are making progression on this objective,
Alex.
and that's a great catch for Sparker. He gets pushed back by the Invisible
Luna
Woman, gets a hook,
has
and
ult.
pulls Zetsu out of this team's support. He gets isolated.
Yeah, Galactic
Yeah,
Legend
this is
comes
the-
on
this
through,
is
but
the
Virtus Pro
advantage
just
of being in
disengaged
this room,
and
bro.
get the bionic
This is big
hook
chilling here,
onto
bro.
the Venom.
Just
Enzo
kill
forced
each
to
other
burn the
and
Feast of the
shit.
Abyss just to
Shit.
keep himself standing as he goes deeper and
And
deeper
Drew
away.
told you,
Finzy's
that's
going to
fucking
take
Bruce
full
territory
advantage
right
of
there,
that, as well as Nevix getting to
Just
just
love
wall
this,
off
bro.
and
Love this
isolate
shit.
all of these players on the side of OG.
Bro,
And you
yo, the
pointed it out
positioning inside the
perfectly.
building is crazy,
OG
bro.
have so
Like,
much
supports are
mobility
just
open
way
to them,
too
but Dive
fucking
is
safe,
really
man.
sporadic. It doesn't have
They're
the same
so safe.
staying power
They can't get
as Finzy and Nevix do on the strange on the group.
Like, the
So
Star
all
can't
Virtus
really
Pro
get
had
to
to do
him.
was just
It
keep
was
themselves
Spidey.
present
Spidey couldn't
on
do
that
anything.
point, and
A
OG
Black
would have to just
Panther,
drift in and out of the fight
pretty
as
good
their
here,
cooldowns
honestly,
came
bro.
online
Like, if you just-
and
if
back
the
away when
support
they
stay
were
in a
waiting for them
building
to
like this, bro,
reset. Something
Panther
that
can
Virtus
fight.
Pro were able to absorb fully and already getting
There's
an
a lot of
opening pick
AoE
onto
damage.
Etsu and potentially
fucking small-ass
onto
moves and shit.
Enzo as
He
well
loves
as the CC is going to be there. Means that they don't have to worry about OG getting to just swing the fight into their favor. And by the
Ooh,
time
that
bangs
shit's
away,
sexy.
the Virtus
Oh,
Pro took
it's
advantage.
big.
In fact, VP are taking no
huge.
prisoners. They're investing
It's so
all of
sexy.
the ultimates to
Good
make sure they
shit, Nevix.
snowball.
They just found that
Dunked
pick
on
early
him.
onto OG is the main
Just dunked
thing.
on him, bro.
And OG on his defense a bit in free fall. No ultimates available to them, so a tangling prison Kraken's impact combo makes this a very open and clear fight. OG, it's easy to isolate them as well when you've got Sparker that can thread these hooks through the eye of a
Venom's looking for a
needle,
slam.
catching out an out of position Venom or even the likes of Tanuki
Ooh,
is
what a
easy
shot.
pickings. There goes Enzo.
What a
There's one of your main tanks. And now it's OG potentially
Finger
this final
clip.
fight
The
on this
start of the
first
ult
map.
maybe, but he
And
got
they're a
double
player down,
supports,
needing
bro.
that tank to sort of absorb some of this
They're
threat,
gonna be a
this
stomach for
pressure.
a minute. Both
And you
teams
don't
gonna
want to be
have
using
the
these support
defenses.
ultimates before the support ultimates of Virtus Pro.
And two
That's
of
the
them
key
each.
thing.
Saipe and Dridro both going to have theirs. Enzo back on that Venom is going to get into these fights incredibly quickly. He's already there, forcing out the first one. Invis Boundary comes unfortunately at the cost of the
Overextended, bro.
Magneto.
Can't
If it
see
does
you.
a Feast of the Abyss, Alex
Looking
might
for the
potentially
one
try
shot,
and
doesn't
pump
get it.
up
The
the
storm
damage
is
stats
behind, bro.
with the fate of
Sky's
both
gonna ult
worlds.
after.
But no, they get used out of timing with each other and no eliminations
VP
are
doesn't
found
have anything
onto any player
after
from
outside
Virtus
of-
Pro who just
Ooh,
pop
they're gonna have
Dridro's
Groot,
own
they're
ultimate
gonna have,
and bounce
Bucky.
out of the fight, waiting for
So
the
I missed
reset,
the ult.
waiting for the ultimates to be done before Sparker can come through
The
with a
fight's
combo
marking
off of
him.
Finzy and Nevix is set
Finzy
up.
looking for
Finzy
it. He's
looking
goes
for
to
it.
the sky. He's looking for the Eye of Agamotto. Tanuki tries to take matters into his own hands, coming on through with the Galactic Legend
he
as
has a
Finzy
reset,
breaks
I
out the
think.
melee to start chunking the Magneto down past
Oh,
that
Tanuki's
shield.
killing everyone.
He's gonna make all of those resources.
Mag-
He's trying to
Dang,
bait out the
Mag-
bulwark early so he can go in for free with that Eye of Agamotto. But it does
Nevix
come
is
at
so
the cost of
healthy.
losing Sparker.
Tanuki trying to go and
Tanuki's
fight into the back
fucking
line,
going
does
crazy
fight
for
in
his team.
Saipe, just short of having the invisible boundary on this attacking side, so that's a big loss. Enzo, it's going to be high blood pressure watching him just run up and down this map, but he's doing so much work. Feast of the Abyss farmed up very quickly
Anzo is on
again,
control,
and there's still 2 minutes now for OG to hold down this point. It's so hard for them to work, but OG, one thing that they've been incredibly good at this tournament is taking
saw
these
it,
long
any
fights
player
and being
that's on
able to
control, yeah.
adjust. They saw it as a problem though. It shows that they're not
TTK.
finishing their dinner, that they're not getting the eliminations first. So these
This
fights
trench
end up
player,
being
the
laborious
mag player
and
for,
brawly like we're seeing now.
and his best
But
team,
4
the
ultimates,
winners
5
of the
ultimates on this
MRC
defense for OG,
for MA
just to
in
hold
Season
on.
0.
The main thing is Sparker,
Put
if
him
he gets a
control.
pick, it feels done.
Havoc comes out from the Venom into the Feast of the Abyss, hoping that the health bars go low enough that Etsu's
think
cracking
OG does
impact
have
can
the
finish
side
them
advantage
off. It's
for the
not to be
ultimates.
done
Tanuki's
though.
gonna have his
The
hit pretty
heals
soon.
are
He's
available on the
20%
side
off,
of
the
Virtus
Star
Pro.
gets it super
Sparker
fast.
gets zoned out of the fight by the Meteor M, but Snakes
Nevix is
doesn't
gonna
manage
have
to
it
find a hit
soon,
off of the
bro.
back of it. It's
Nevix
just
with Sparker
delaying
combo
for the
is
regroup
how,
to come through from
VP
OG's
wins
end.
this.
Nevix makes the disengage,
But there's
unfortunately,
an
on
invisible
Curve
woman there.
as the group
Got
rolls
another ult.
everybody off, strangling prison into cracking impact into Eye of
the Luna's
Agamotto
no
from Finzy.
damage
And
boost
I
now.
don't think even
Luna's
with
ult
OG
is just
strategies
trying to beat him,
ultimates
bro.
up,
It's
they're
just-
going to be
oh
able
my
to have the
God.
heals to sustain through that amount of damage that Virtus Pro are able to enact. That is going to be Shin Shibuya, and Virtus Pro move up in the series. One map's advantage, but OG, they're not out of it just yet. They said themselves, Enzo admitted in the interview. This is a team that's a little bit of a slow burner. They tend to lose that for try and take the Hello 1v1 mirror, which means it always has to be the insta-ban. Likewise, if you try and ban Sparker's Bucky, he's just gonna swap over to the Psylocke. And he's also one of, if not the best Psylocks in the entire world too.
We seen that.
Another thing as well, Virtus Pro mostly saving the Lunar Snow. Not only because they're just a strong support in their own right. We saw a lot of Fate of Both Worlds that were just dancing the night away down the streets of Shin Shibuya. But also, like, it really does force the other team against that to probably second ban out the Namor because of that chilling charisma team up. Not always. I think some teams have been a little bit more open to playing it. But in this position, we have seen OG pretty much almost exclusively ban out Namor in this pick that's coming after the Loki second ban, which, you know, everything's looking the same when it comes to picks bans so far.
Yeah, it is going to be OG protecting that Venom, so they can still try and play this dive composition. And dive can be really strong in Hell's Heaven if you are in control of the point, right? You can set your Venom up onto the wall. You can scout out when the enemy team is going to be crossing through from a choke. You can organize a 3-2-1 in terms of communication to have a split push to come on through. But it comes with that huge factor of Sparker getting to play the Winter Soldier, because we saw the Venom just not having the impact that it was looking for. In fact, it was kind of the 7th player on Virtus Pro's roster when you look at how it was playing in Shin Shibuya, because it just Enzo was not able to do anything that he was looking for.
Mass stun. Like
I mean, yeah, that's certainly a way of putting in Moxie.
This dive. We saw the same thing occur in the previous series against Fnatic. Midtown was rough to say the least, but they were able to shake it off, and when we saw them on Eagle Path, they looked like a different team entirely. So hopefully the synergy and coordination is going to be there now that we head into the second map of the series. Potentially the warm-up has been done. Tanuki already going to be getting very aggressive, just trying to scout check where exactly Virtus Pro are going to be popping on up. Specifically where Sparker's position is, to relay that information to Enzo so that he avoids that area of space as a huge hook lands onto Ken, and the Invis woman unfortunately is not able to avoid the follow-through damage, and now OG are gonna have to take a fight. Strategist down.
Ooh, it's also like I don't
5v6 in pro play, bro.
Etsu gets the hook over onto Sparker after he gets that first elimination, but the peel that comes in from Virtus Pro, as in like the supports tanks, a lot of people run over to help Sparker, sort of protect the president almost kind of playstyle, and then he's able to get another elimination. That feels like it's the big difference. The Virtus Pro are almost expecting these kind of plays to be dragged out of position, but when you have an invisible woman that can boot people back, pull them in to sort of get them stuck under your backline that everybody can turn around and deal with you, it's these anti-dives for Virtus Pro that I think have been making them look really good this event. And also just Sparker finding those early eliminations before team fights have happened around the ultimates. Nothing's available just yet.
Yeah, that was a double hook. The bionic hook from Sparker found both Vanguard players on the side of OG, Enzo and Snaze. Snaze falls for it, Finzi pushes forward even more aggressively, utilizing that bulwark, hoping that OG will break it so he gets access to the mag cannon off the right click, fully charged on up with maximum amounts of damage. Silver lining for OG, because they're taking so much poke, they do have both strategist ultimates available for this next push. They're going to take the high ground, trying to challenge right now. As you can see, the Star-Lord duel going down with Fire and Tanuki both playing very dangerously on the edge, out of LOS of their strategists.
All going to be used to just protect them for a little bit
Pretty
more.
equal in
You
terms
can see
of
the Meteor M available for Finzi, but he knows the workflow of this, what ultimates want to be used first, and that's both invisible boundaries. 6 ultimates, 12 ultimates in the server, all available. This is going to be pandemonium, but before we see OG being able to use everything they have available, there goes Ken. Invisible boundaries gone, Fate of Both Worlds going to be used on this more offensive side of Virtus Pro. They have 85% on the objective. OG poked up all of their ults, but it's only allowed them one fight potentially on this point, Moxie, and it's a clean, swift win for Virtus Pro. I don't know if there's going to be a chance at all for OG to contest this one.
Yeah, I mean, Virtus Pro, the pick potential that is available with Sparker on this. A lot more additional ways to break LOS,
the fact that his
break the
character's like
hook.
a Luna, so
If Sparker is able to find that opening, that has been the win condition for Virtus Pro in terms of just holding on to all of the economy. They've been budget winning every single one of these duels, and it can't be allowed to happen again.
All 12 ultimates in that final fight were used, so nothing is available as of right now, as progression does carry over from one part to the other. It sounds like I'm being condescending. It's not because I don't think that all of you guys watching are silly, it's because my mum's watching and I want her to know what's going on. But OG actually winning a really nice fight here. They go on the offensive. Tanuki finds 2 or 3, and it does allow OG some actual progression over onto this point. Virtus Pro looking to reset. It's trying to attempt to be stalled out here from Enzo. So good stuff to get 10% on the board. You are farming up some of these ultimates, but mostly for your support. Enzo, the switch over to group seems to be working thus far at least.
Yeah, he's going to have Strangling Prison into this next fight. Nevix likewise is going to have the ulti. Saipe and Ken both going to be sitting as well on the invis boundary. So it's all going to be about Snaze with this Meteor M. If he can shut down Strider's ultimate on the side of Virtus Pro, OG are going to be having a real advantage into this next fight. 20% before the map moves as well. So potentially if Virtus Pro don't commit soon, they could find themselves falling afoul of the shifting door frame. Out of the way they go. In comes Enzo, the Strangling Prison directly into the invis boundary. Are they going to be able to find the damage to stick through the amount of healing though? As Sparker is just waiting hungrily. Etsu already burned the Kraken impact. It didn't find the picks that it was looking for. And Sparker now gets to answer back with his own. Alex is trying to keep everybody alive with the fate of both worlds. Dritro is trying to take everyone down with the damage boost capability to boost Sparker's potential. And Virtus Pro, it's going to cost 62% off the point potentially, but they should be finding the staggers and the point flip now.
Yeah, now looking at support Ultimate Street George just using our fate of both worlds. I mean, it's still a quarter of the way making it. That's how much damage was healed after that main engagement and halfway for Saipe. So I'm looking over at Tanuki's Galactic Legend on this Star-Lord. If he can find a good timing, if this is some way that OG can actually get in and take these fights early, it'd be nice. But you can see that Enzo just in the top left of your screen, chunking health right now as both DPS duelist ultimates for OG are coming online. Vi's trying to sort of take some of the space and be a bit more aggressive.
They check Tanuki. He gets the Bulwark to come through from Finzi on that Magneto. And the problem is Tanuki can't go for Galactic Legend because Finzi can go for Meteor M and absorb all of the damage coming out from the Star-Lord ultimate. And that's exactly what Virtus Pro are able to do.
It just looked easy watching it from Vi's perspective. Sort of knows that the Galactic Legend on the other side is going to be available. Just hiding out. It's just how much the rest of the team deals with it. I don't know whether Sparker just shot him out of the sky. Obviously, your E can knock people down potentially. But you've got this strangling prison for Nevix. Throwing it just off of the point might be good because now there's a lot of ultimates for OG. Yeah, you need to be careful.
Oh, insane fucking play by Nevix, bro. Holy fuck.
The perception check of
actually insane. I really like this play, man. Just you set up fucking super early. This is the type of play that
Alex has to go for his own because Galactic Legend now comes through from Bison. Snake's not utilizing the Meteor M until now. Might use a try shut down the dance floor early, but enough. Comes through from Finzi, immediately slamming shut the window of opportunity that was available for OG to flip this.
I like the idea from there.
He's getting CC'd a little bit by the absolute zero from the Luna on the other side, but Finzi is absolutely shredding down OG here. But the progression is still going in their direction. In fact, they've taken the lead. Tanuki started off this fight, I think, with the ultimate, used it, died, and then came back. But there's so much healing that's still not enough to actually break this apart. 92%. This might be looking like Virtus Pro about to lose the point. It's all sort of shut down. You can see the pressure. I think there was even a shove back from Ken.
Yeah, that
and there it is. So OG able to take us at least to a third map over on this point. And finally, Moxie, I think we start to see exactly what this OG can do when they have coordination and have some good team fights under them. Really spur on OG to get their first ever map win against Virtus Pro. Even though most people said OG was the second best team behind Virtus Pro, that Fnatic win, I think, solidifies that to an extent. It was actually Team Peps that took that first map win ever against Virtus Pro on Spider Islands.
Etsu goes over to that
Actually, bro,
Psylocke, tries to build up the ultimate.
Or maybe in a tournament.
But you can see that everyone from the side of Virtus Pro
like,
playing
I
very
think
close
VP
together.
didn't
No
lose a
one
single
going to be an
map in the
isolated target.
entire
Easy for the
tournament,
Psylocke to chunk down, and she gets spotted on out. Fi wisely grabs the health pack instead of looking for his strategist so that it's not available for Etsu to embolden the duelist on sticking on that angle as the fight now moves to the low ground off the point. Dance of the Butterflies comes on out, but Tanuki is the one that falls, and once the Psylocke becomes targetable once more, Sparker is still up and standing to put an end to the shenanigans. Meteor M, however, locked over Finzy's head, takes Alex out of the party too. And this is Virtus Pro, who should be finding the flip, even though OG, with the positioning earlier, were able to back themselves over a quarter of the point.
Felt that it was a case of Virtus Pro just having those ultimates banked from the last fight on the last part of the map. Just able to keep things swinging into their favor, and there's plenty of other ultimates for Virtus Pro to hold on to and rotate out. Grappling a Strangling Prison is going to be the thing that might hold OG in place, might put Alex under a lot of pressure to use that Fate of Both Worlds early if they're not careful. But it's that combination that's come in, the coordinated plays that we expect from OG and more on Virtus Pro's side. Fi having to back off to Barrage to just clear up any of this pressure, and he's been hunted down like crazy on this map, specifically over from like the backline, I suppose, of Virtus Pro.
Yeah, was also utilizing the AoE burst to spy check whether the Psylocke had committed further into that backline.
I think that Luna would have
ulted when they're vulnerable without those ultimates. Etsu with the high ground window, but it's Snace who comes in with the opening pick of the fight. Meteor M into the push. Ken, with the force physics, takes Finzy off of the map. No Magneto, no Strange, no shield. It's just going to be Navix on that grid, and Tanuki gets to finally pop on off inside the invis boundary. No one from Virtus Pro know where to target that Star-Lord, and they did it without having to burn a duelist ultimate too.
There's a lot of setup. I do like this sort of adjustment when it comes to these duelists in play. Tanuki is really wanting to isolate some of these picks, but Virtus Pro been so good at peeling for each other. It's not really been that much of an issue in some places. So Etsu switching over to the Psylocke is going to pull Virtus Pro apart. You can start to see them try to group up, flush out some of these positions where this sort of sneaky assassin could be hidden. Dance of the Butterflies is going to be dropped in, and it's going to force the Fate of Both Worlds early from both sides. Now the Kraken's impact is going to be the opening, but this Strangling Prison is going to hold him in place. It means that the resets are going to still be available because he catches onto Ken, and it just keeps going. It felt that they might have been able to pin down Sparker for a moment, but he resurges nicely, and Virtus Pro actually take the lead on progression.
Oh, that's a disaster for OG too, because Etsu's ultimate early in the fight forced Dread Rose, which would have been a green light for Tanuki's Galactic Legend. Unfortunately, Sparker is the one that gets to pop off and carry the fight in that duelist role. Tanuki goes for the Galactic Legend early fight, also going for it at the same time as Finzy drops in on all of the players of OG looking to put themselves onto the point with that Eye of Agamotto, stunning them up in their tracks. Tanuki might be able to take Saipei down, will be able to offer the helping hand of Alex's Fate of Both Worlds, boosting the damage numbers, and OG and the heals that Alex's ultimate provided. They had to go for that play, regardless of ultimate economy, Ryan, because it was final fight territory for Virtus Pro. They had no choice but to be forced into burning the Fate of Both Worlds. And Virtus Pro now have an opportunity. All they have to do is battery up a duelist ultimate, bait Ken's invis boundary, and then they can come through with Sparker clutching it out at the end.
Yeah, this feels like OG's best chance to take him out. They've set themselves up for it nicely. Meteor M for Snaze just become available, but invisible boundaries, the Venn diagrams are probably going to start showing up again. That's a hell of a pull, but Etsu being able to dash out of there, gets the Dance of the Butterflies, wants to wait this ultimate out on the side of Virtus Pro. We're now trucking onto overtime. 99% available for both teams. And as that transition comes in, that's when Etsu decides to strike. Two in the backline, clears it up. And this Moxie is looking like the first time the Virtus Pro are going to drop a map against OG. We actually have a bit of a series on our hands. Damage done from OG on these domination maps finally against Virtus Pro.
Etsu! Psylocke, what a Dance of the Butterflies. It's an absolute ballroom blitz.
Which is always nice to watch. But this is Virtus Pro. And this is a good map for them, not only because The music is gorgeous. I love the music on this map, and it
VP's
sets
map.
up this one
You like this
perfectly.
map, okay?
But also, it's a map from those that played in the closed beta about a year or so
Tanuki
ago.
plays Wolverine,
And this Virtus Pro
Nivix
team, despite a couple of
plays,
changes here or there, Finzi and stuff, were playing in those tournaments, Moxie, and they were fairly dominant. A lot of these players were playing pretty early on in their careers and Marvel Rivals, really trying to outseeing if it has a future for them in an esports sense. But this Virtus Pro team has had so much success on it, you can understand why they want to come in this direction.
Okay.
Yeah, well, when it comes to musicality in the game, I'm more partial to the Hell's Heaven overtime music myself, as OG are going to be partial to keeping Tanuki's hero pool in play. They were sort of sensing that maybe there was going to be a ban coming through from the end of Virtus Pro, not just targeting the Wolverine,
and
but
maybe,
also the Star-Lord,
like
which would potentially pressure Tanuki in having to pick up the Winter Soldier over Etsu. There's going to be protection coming through onto Jules and a Magneto ban coming out onto the side of Virtus Pro. They want to remove any potential double shield composition coming on out onto Yggdrasil path.
I feel like he killed 2 supports, bro.
And that's going to set themselves up nicely, not only to play the Strange group, but the Strange thing is also present. It's not likely here because Wolverine being first and out means that we're not really going to see the character at all that is very good against groups, so groups sort of almost best in slot in that position. But also the protection of the Star-Lord against the
team in terms of having regeneration domain and the ability to survive those one-shot capabilities. But it also is a little bit of a double-edged blade given the fact that those Winter Soldiers, the enemy Winter Soldiers, can achieve a reset of a Kraken impact off of just taking down one of your copies, which no amount of strategist ultimate is going to lose.
Ken's at 30, but what?
So you got Sparker versus Etsu on the Winter Soldiers, Tanuki versus Fi on the Star-Lords, but I think it's the Loki battle that's happening here. Saipei up against Ken that really has made this potentially a meta pick in his own right. Lots of healing, lots of sustain. Keep an eye on the shift button in the bottom left. Bottom right even to show when this regeneration domain is going to be used. A lot of healing concentrated in one position, which isn't bad. Very early on this defense for Virtus Pro. OG might sniff out an opportunity.
Yeah, and there it is. Snaze moves forward and with the Maelstrom takes the Winter Soldier down.
Oh my god, OG, good shit, man.
Look how much more aggressive Enzo gets to be. The group was
off the
disengage from VP, and they're sent back to the respawn before they can approach that hallway. That is a very fast push coming out from the side of OG.
The Loki shifted super
early. Some
early.
really good impact now over on this group. Some of the positions of these walls, just isolated targets, stopping them from resetting for the time being. But I remember we saw something like this with Team Peps up against Virtus Pro, where they had such a good start, but they overextended, got stuck on this part of the map where this engagement's happening, and that's where Virtus Pro stopped the payload and managed to hold it for the rest of their defensive half. So this is not just done and dusted here for OG. You've got the Lokis, the God of Mischief ultimates coming through to copy, no doubt, the support ultimates. That's the typical direction. That's a great Strangling Prison, but that's a hell of a wall to actually block that Kraken's impact. Everybody's grouped up, and the wall just shuts that down for a second. Don't know if the resets are going to be coming in on the other side now, as OG are forced to use both of their support ultimates, but they still lose their main tank of Snaze. A stun coming in onto Etsu and Enzo means that they're still able to stay alive with just all of the sustained healing coming in from the Luna ultimate. But Virtus Pro taking control back of the payload up the high ground and forcing OG to soft reset.
Why did they only have one defensive?
Yeah, and Fi sniffed out the potential off angle that Tanuki wanted to set up. Potentially gets taken into an outnumbered fight too, because you could see Finzi that just in case he needs to help out his duelist win that particular angle and controlled that lane. Both of the Star-Lords looking for the Galactic Legend. It's going to be Fi actually, who pulls his immediately, trying to win the 1 versus 1, but it's not going to find the value until now. Huge Eye of Agamotto from Finzi means that no one can dodge out of the forward for damage. And Fi with the Eye in the sky has the position to take so many of those players low. And Virtus Pro capitalize on the low health bars and finally send OG packing.
Even if there's 4 minutes on the clock here, Moxie, I think it's going to be really hard for OG to move this payload much further. This is such a augmented position to hold as a defensive side. You've got some great ultimates farmed up in these occasions. You're up against potentially 5, because that God of Mischief from Ken isn't that far away. You can see on the high ground exactly where this attacking Tanuki Star-Lord is going to be heading.
Oh my
but
God,
already you're losing your main tank first.
It looks like Snaze is less
Snaze
comfortable
is the one to go down,
on this train.
and OG have to regroup to stop really these ultimates being farmed up on this defense because 4 are available. And very be 5 or 6 by the time that this fight actually happens.
It's not just that. Ken is so reluctant to use Loki copies at the moment because even when you ult and copy someone else, your clones remain. So Sparker would have all of the resets to just keep the ultimate going, even through something like a Fate of Both Worlds, and it's eating into overall sustainability and survivability available to OG when they try and find these approaches. The only times that we're seeing the Loki clones being invested is either so that you can immediately
they're all going left
and
side,
just convert your position to disengage safely, or it's so deep into your own territory that you don't have to worry about Sparker because he's not going to be going for the Kraken impact that close to your respawn point. Sparker looks for the hook, almost finds the grip. Good shield from Snaze in time to be able to stop that. Triangle inversion comes on through. Regeneration domain force from the side of VP.
That's big. That's fat.
From Snaze the second that's on cooldown. Into the Maelstrom once enough damage has been built up from that melee. And this is finally OG being able to break the camel's back and see VP out. But VP held on to so many ultimates and were guaranteed another fight.
Yo, they need to try and cancel Strange TP.
A tight, constrained area. This is a good play from Etsu. Just to scout out these positions and really force the back, but he might have overextended. That's a great hook. You're losing one of your main damage dealers, and it might provide a way for Virtus Pro to be able to contest this point, and they should. Tanuki's up on the high ground. The Galactic Legend, well timed would be nice. That's a great wall, but it is going to be brought down. Here's Virtus Pro fighting on this point. Just needs this before the second objective. Looks like they're sort of clearing up house, and the Kraken's impact is going to be dedicated. It was looking like the right idea there, I think, for OG to try to take that space, but it goes to show how easy it is to be punished, and also why Virtus Pro banned out one of those main shield tanks.
Yeah, not just that, but Enzo gets so hooked out of position by Sparker, and then Ken tries to save him, dropping the regeneration domain, but unfortunately the group was already pulled away from it, so the Kraken impact still finds the value that it's looking for. Virtus Pro have been able to burn off 3 minutes of the bank that OG had access to. Galactic Legend is still in the cards. Finzi goes in deep with an Eye of Agamotto. They're going to try and find the eliminations through the Fate of Both Worlds that Ken utilize to dodge away from the CC with the immunity frames on that dance floor setup. Saipe, make sure that everyone still stays standing with the regeneration domain, and Sparker has done enough damage that he's already got another Kraken impact. And Ken, with no choice, unfortunately, had to use the copies to keep everyone standing from the side of OG, which means the Sparker's resets are going on.
They can't even get on spawn, bro. They're gonna have like 5 seconds to TP.
Finzi has been able to portal block off OG's exit from their own spawn for a further 10 seconds. And with only 12 left in the bank,
more like 20.
I don't think anyone's going to be within time to tap.
Yep,
these walls going to be going in to slow things down. Even the Kraken's impact going to be used. Just an attempt to get there. Even a Spider-Man thrown in for Tanuki. Can't quite catch it.
Oh, what Etsu's doing. That's not even a Salak
for
or
OG to get towards the end of that second area.
It was incredibly quick. Virtus Pro not going to be opting for any cheese strategy either. We saw a little bit of the rocket, but it's literally just for the cookie to come on out. There's no Punisher shenanigans with the infinite ammo to melt through some of these group walls early. So that's just going to be matching blow for blow upon these corners, and the group walls making all of this main road an absolute labyrinth for the Vanguards to have to pick their way through.
Just also doing a little bit of sort of support work and also damage as well for anybody that's close once the group is also present nearby it. These Maelstroms have actually been really nice from both strangers to find that burst to break through this just constant sustained support meta, right? The double ultimate combos too that are coming through by just chunking through the barrage, doing a similar sort of bit of work. And this is looking like a very quick and clear point for Virtus Pro to be taking. It's only the God of Mischief that they were farmed up with on Saipe. OG wanted to try to group up. They will have their portal to try to contest this again. But it's whether they get a good opportunity here. There's really not much of a chance to jump in, but in the nick of time, Moxie, they're here to fight.
Comes at the cost of the regeneration domain, though. And it is going to be Echoes on the battlefield.
Enzo has his ult. Do we combo? Do we have a combo going?
Cracking Impact comes on through. Couldn't find the eliminations Etsu was looking for because Sparker's got one of his own too. Dredro has their own Fate of the Both Worlds as well. Fire's going to go on through with the Galactic Legend, takes down Ken. So a lot of sustainers now burnt away from the sides of the defense. Enzo's Hellfire is reflecting the lack of players that he has to try and keep him standing. Tanuki comes in with a lazy Galactic Legend though, and it finds more value. The rocket jump is invested from Nevix, who bounces up into the air, trying to absorb some of the pressure coming out from the Stolid ultimate, but it's not enough. And off of an amazing portal recontest, OG will be able to hold on to
whenever you get a
and
free Stolid ult,
Virtus
you just win
Pro,
the fight,
the ultimates they invested into that fight, Ryan. They thought they had
like
that
they
one
kind of
in
lost
the
Hamilton.
book, and they cashed out the entire bank.
They didn't have anything.
Barker, at least
Fire,
have the Kraken's
I think
impact,
Fire
both of them
ulted
available
early.
actually for these Winter Soldiers. And that was looking like a dire fight for OG.
No, it's
They
Bucky
lose one
on
of their
Bucky
supports
action.
first.
With
But it was some
maybe
good
Brutals.
Ayabagamotas that came in for Snays catching 2, and most importantly,
I think,
Finzy's not catching anybody. That's where
if
the
there's a
Tanuki
pick,
ultimate came from,
there's
just to
gonna
clean
get
up
it
house, a
wins,
bit behind when it
other
comes
than
to
that, I
ultimate
think it's a good
progression.
battle,
But it
though.
worked out in that sense to just wait out a lot of the support ultimates and then catch them by surprise.
Yo, VP has
now,
a lot
however,
better
another Strangling
defenses, bro.
Prison's in place. A
Yeah,
lot
they
of
have
them have
Loki,
been
they
hitting
don't.
and playing nicely. There's
Yeah,
the
they're
hook
forced to.
combination and the Kraken's impact. Slamming down from
Yeah, no
Sparker,
defenses,
finds
no
2
defenses.
eventually, 3 in total.
Low-key
This
95,
is looking like
99.
now Virtus Pro can
Oh,
take this
99.
first point. They'll have a bit more time on the board, but OG did well to
Yeah, they should have
really
played
stem
this
the bleeding
so
because that
much
could have been a very
safer,
swift
bro.
first point loss.
They should have played for
Yeah,
Loki.
Sparker is able to pick out the actual Ken amongst the clones. And Ken dips into
Didn't
his
have
right click to just
anything.
get a little bit of self-sustain, but unfortunately that
well,
drops the clone
Cypher had
directly
something.
at the location, giving Sparker another reset. Now he's looking for the hook, almost manages to find it as well. The Groot walls having to be put up as quickly as they're burnt down, so Sparker doesn't once again pick someone out of position. Strange Shield being battered down. There's a sore
Enzo's
lack
looking,
of presence
Enzo's
though for
looking.
the defense over towards that right side. Virtus Pro have noticed it. They're probably going to try and get Pi into a
dead?
position to
Oh, Tanuki's
capitalize.
dead.
Sparker gets to utilize the Trooper's Fist on the shift to put himself through the window pane and hook onto the Starlord. So Tanuki's opportunity for the Galactic Legend
have
is
anything,
entirely
bro?
denied.
They don't have anything.
It's
to
a
play
clean up
with,
here. The
bro.
first elimination found. You do have to copy the God of Mischief. That's what the Fate of Both Worlds is, but they're matched on top of each other. Dreedra having to use
Like,
his
this
to
just
fight the
forces
player
out the
down.
defensive in return,
Ayabagamoto
they
coming in
just
from
lose.
Finzy from distance. I think only catches onto 1. Again, these aren't quite hitting. Coming from the high
Returns are
ground to
all
maybe
economy.
get in and surprise. There's less shields and less stuff to block it, but you've got the walls that are a constant
because of
threat and
Snake's ult,
pressure.
they're
OG
fine.
winning out the fight in the end. They do have Galactic Legends on either side. We have to look at support ultimates. Ken 24%, Alex using Fate of Both Worlds at 8. Not much to match what might be coming for
Yeah,
Virtus
VP
Pro.
wins this so
I mean,
bad, bro.
Navix as
Yo,
well has
Snaze needs to
Strangling
play
Prison,
super
which can be
safe, bro.
all of the setup
They need to
necessary
play for
either
the
for a
Loki ult,
huge
bro.
follow-up into Galactic Legend,
Like, they need to play
or
super
being
safe,
able to
bro.
play them all in for that
Like,
Kraken
give them
impact
space, bro. Take
from
damage,
the end
give
of
space, bro.
Sparker.
Take
But
damage,
if
give
it's
space,
going to be an early hook coming through from either Bucky's, that can blow this fight wide open. Ultimate economy
run,
be
run,
darned.
run.
Snaze attempts to hold
Do not
Virtus Pro
double Q.
back, going on through with a Maelstrom, trying to catch them as they come around that corner. Just buying time for the ultimates to come into play, but Tanuki gets taken down in the meantime.
I don't know what
by
Groot's
the
doing
Luna
here.
from the other side.
Loki's a
And that's going to be
9-5.
Virtus Pro.
What
They've
if
seen
they
their
die again
opportunity. They're
because of
going to
this,
go
bro?
aggressive. No
Loki
holding
at
on to the
9,
ultimates.
yeah.
They want to win
It's
this
too
map
late,
right
bro.
now
That's just
before
so
OG
bad,
have
bro.
any chance of recovering.
Bro,
You
it's
can
the
see
second
Finzy
time
already
shit
spinning
happens,
the
bro.
finger round and round. The portal will come out towards the spawn
they're
room
just
before
too
the
good off, bro.
defenders can
Yeah,
pick
they
their
do have
way
someone to
onto the
touch.
payload.
There's Dreedra
fight.
that also has the Fate of Both Worlds, and I said, oh no, because Ken had just got his God of Mischief online. The contest has to come in, but walls are in the way. Is it going to actually be able to be touched? No,
OG
it
needs to do a
isn't.
better job with
OG
tracking
tried
ults
to
and
go
knowing
in
how
for
to
the
play
fight, and it was
into
shut down.
what their
Damage
opponents have
done
available,
against
bro.
Virtus Pro, but
Like,
not
why are we
enough in
not
this
just running
position.
away until we
They've
get
only
lucky,
lost
bro?
2 maps. This is the map that they chose
Like, we know they
afterwards,
have the-
and it's 2 wins off the
probably
back
soon
of it.
to- soon to
2-1
be
lead
lost
in
now,
this best
too.
of 7 Moxie goes Virtus
We're
Pro's
just-
way.
I mean, Virtus Pro, they have such a good understanding of
close
the
to
map.
them,
Like
bro.
you said,
And
you can
like,
tell
we're
how
close
long
enough
they've
so
been
that they can
playing
just
this
run
map. It's
towards
been
us and push.
available since...
4K prize pool, so no surprise that we're seeing the likes of Virtus Pro, OG, and Fnatic involved in this tournament. With these different game modes and the different maps, do the vetoes change that much? I know that there's going to be some
Looking at
certain
like
areas
pretty
of domination.
standard
Gonna see
brands early,
Wolverine
man.
more or
Wolf,
Brute more,
hello.
but is that enough to justify some pick of
Wolf
bands?
7.
Right now, I think a lot of the tournament has been
Starlight.
pretty like
We're gonna
not
go
monotonous,
Luna.
but like it's almost the same and you could copy and paste the map veto over and over again. Is that sort of accurate, would you say? It's just more the meta is very multiplicable on different maps and game modes?
I mean, it comes down to flexibility. Like OG, whenever we've interviewed them, they've been very self-aware of the fact that in terms of hero picks and bans, you have to be incredibly flexible because it doesn't matter whether you're playing like Convoy or Domination or even Convergence. If you are known for a specific hero, you're getting target banned immediately. So like you can see that for both OG and VP, in terms of the picks and bans, it's a matter of taking the comfort off of the table no matter which map you go to. Like for OG, it's an absolute no-brainer that they take Faisal out because he would be able to carry and just admin the lobby no matter which map he gets taken to. Tanuki is strongest on his Wolverine, he's less experienced on the Star-Lord, and OG has less experience. Play the amount of ways that you can play him. One way in particular, what you're doing by taking the Magneto out of the way is depriving a one-shot capability to stop a strategist ultimate, but also the Bulwark being able to aid Tanuki and Fi in terms of that aerial matchup when Magneto can just apply that extra shield and immediately your Star-Lord gets 300 additional form of hit points. It's going to be a portal coming in through from both of these teams now. Snae's already getting aggressive, trying to anchor OG's position on that point, just the way we saw in Hell's Heaven. So if they do end up losing this fight, at least they'll be able to pick up a little bit of point percentage.
Don't die.
Ultimate's been found up very quickly, actually more on the side of Ken and Enzo, just eating up a lot of the damage and the support coming in off the back of it. Snae's
tanks can take as much damage as they want, bro. As long as they don't die, it's fine, bro. But if a tank die, bro, first of all, you're down 1, so it's 5v6, and then after,
you can start
it's
to
a
see
huge
now
pull of
Virtus.pro
health
splitting
that
up a little bit.
your
A couple
supports
players
can't
up on the
heal,
high ground
so
of the
it's
stairs
doubly
to try to shoot over these shields, and Snae's backwards and
bro,
forwards.
if a tank goes to like 1
HP,
HP, bro, and gets full health, bro,
getting there just
like your
before
team's gonna
Ken when
hate
it comes to these God of Mischiefs. Luna ultimates copied out just as they become available.
Back for both team, both Bucky's
the
have their
combination we've seen consistently.
Oh my gosh,
Snae's OG was sort of known for as well, with the Kraken's impact and the Venom ultimate. But it is the group Winter Soldier combos that are working out. And so far, Virtus.pro holding out here. Moxie and Spark are taking a lot of space.
Yeah, what's up,
taking the fight forward and taking the point.
Yeah, you can already see the difference of not having a Magneto to embolden the Star-Lords. Tanuki and Fight both a lot slower in hitting those Galactic Legends and a lot slower in terms of being able to pressure the backline on a vertical angle as well, which is allowing these Groot Walls to stay standing much more than they had previously on places like Hell's Heaven. And Virtus.pro just having the better coordination and follow through off of that strangling prison set up by Nevix in comparison to Enzo. But Enzo is building his up much quicker in comparison to the next one. Finzi with the shift is going to be able to once again challenge Tanuki. So what OG were hoping would be the distraction play for the quarter walk forward has been denied, and instead it falls to Snae's to have to go in with an aggressive Eye of Agamotto, but it gets scouted out, and it's up to Etsu now to try and take advantage. Both Kraken impacts and Galactic Legend going to be invested. This is an expensive fight from the side of OG. They should be able to win it out overall, but Virtus.pro have an opening to be able to walk unchecked through this next spawn choke.
Perfectly on 50% too. So it does mean that if they lose this fight, they have some way of getting these ultimates back online, going for a final engagement potentially. But OG have usually looked good in these scenarios. You're looking at Tanuki to be the impact player because that's really who was to find these openings. Now, though, you got an Eye of Agamotto and a Strangling Prison from Nevix, which really don't feel like they've missed it all when it comes to the CC. It was Saipei that opened up the fight last time with the Loki ultimate. It's whether that's going to be the way that this team goes in now. Finzi dropped to the low ground, suggested this is go time, and they even find the pick just before the ultimates come in. They catch Etsu, nowhere near having his ultimate, but Sparky using his with the Kraken's impact means that this is going to be a clear up. It's only like 43-45% on the point for OG. They might have a lead by the end of this engagement happening. In fact, they might have a way back into this one, Moxie, as the spot ultimates and making this fight last longer. And those players that were eliminated very early on, like Etsu, are back.
Yeah, it is going to be Galactic Legend from Fight coming on through. Virtus.pro really wanting to find that flip immediately. Alex was able to keep the point stalled out for the possession of OG, though. They have been able to buy up 62% of that point. They're going to as well have the Strangling Prison and Tanuki. coming on through with the Galactic Legend, but unfortunately they don't have great space to be able to use it. Virtus Pro very understanding of the ultimates. They're up against, and a huge hook from Enzo grabs him into the middle of the team. Saipe finishes him off. And unfortunately for OG, now that they're down the Vanguard, the one person that had the ultimate that could have stopped Virtus from getting aggressive, they're going to lose any stalling power of stopping this other team from getting aggressive.
Oh, this is not good. You're just trickling players in and out. Sneeze having an Eye of Agamotto. A lot of ultimates actually available for OG here. They're going to have to just sort of slip in behind to get onto the point, as it's looking like Virtus Pro are going to get it to 99% at least. Might be the final fight in Odin's archive, and Spark with a Kraken's impact could be right in that first chapter of Virtus Pro's history. So far, it's a clean engagement, actually, from Etsu. He's the one that's turned it around. There's a little twist for you towards the end by trying to sneak in, see if this can reset, because whilst we do see Virtus Pro get on to 99%, OG are going to be able to take the point, but it's going to hold it for like a minute or so. This is a great stagger, actually, if they can get the pick.
Oh my
but
God.
he just reloads at the wrong time, goes into the wall, can't quite get the elimination. And a reset required.
Silver lining was Alex was taken out of the mix. It was Ken with the God of Mischief who was able to copy the fate of both forwards, and that was why Tanuki and Atsu were both able to do much more damage in comparison to their counterparts. It's going to be an Eye of Agamotto comes on through from Snaze. Stuns up by 9% away from the Galactic Legend, but Dreadrod fails to Star-Lord out. The Duelist survives because of the fate of both forwards, which is still going to be sounding on off. Alex gets second though, so that's going to be lasting much longer, and Tanuki goes directly into the back line, trying to pull and split Virtus Pro's attention so they can't keep themselves anchored on that point as overtime starts to come on through. Because everyone's focused on the point, Tanuki is free to run a rampage. Goes into the backline, picks up the squishies, gets the health back, and continues to challenge the off angle. And once again, OG just having to deal now with some of these last remaining players from the side of Virtus Pro. Finzi on that Doctor Strange is going to stall for as long as possible. Might be able to grab somebody else onto the point now. It's going to be the Star-Lord. Fire already burned through all of his iframes though, and Dridron will fall. OG yet again coming out on top in terms
to that Psylocke. It was that adjustment from Etsu that I think ended up winning OG that map over on Hell's Heaven, so it is going to be the switch in the other direction. And Ultimate's actually in favor of OG this time. They didn't have to use them at the end of that fight, and not quite warmed up or farmed up for Virtus Pro. Strangler Prisons on either side that might be able to isolate some of these fights and walls just to box people into uncomfortable engagements. It's actually Snaze that needs a little bit of a pushback, and the Galactic Legend now from Tanuki forces out a big cooldown in the sense of this regeneration domain. And he's DPS waiting.
Saipe held on to the God of Mischief to get the copy onto the fate of both worlds, and that is a fully pink dance floor. That is 40% damage increase for every hit of Kraken impact that Sparker is able to pull off. That's why Virtus Pro had the confidence this time around for them and their composition to anchor onto the point itself, as opposed to in the previous rounds we've seen OG be the ones to go for that play. It's going to be a big investment. Portal comes out so they can dodge away from the choke where the Groot would be problematic to walk through, and Finzi floats above the wall in Agamotto with the Maelstrom of Darkness following and picking out both of the supports. And unfortunately for OG, while the fight might have been fast, and it did burn a significant chunk of ultimates that Virtus Pro had to play with, it's now also burnt the portal cooldown for a potential recontest in overtime.
Now for Virtus Pro, retaking the point back, it was costly, and it was a nice play for OG that they used on the last part of the map, just to be able to get some points on the board, slowing things down a little bit more. So the ultimate economy, both support ultimates are available. They were taken out very early in that fight from the Eye of Agamotto, not quite catching the big picks, but the big people. So there's the first one. Fate Both Worlds used as a more offensive tool with the damage boost in these positions, but you have to watch out for Sparky yet again. The ultimates being held on to like vultures. Virtus Pro are just waiting for these support ultimates to come through before we see the counter attack. That's a big of Eye of Agamotto catching on to free, and just as we saw Virtus Pro try to pounce, OG were expecting it. They were a stalwart to shut that down. They take the point just as Virtus Pro get on to 70%.
Yeah, 72%.
But Vip is gonna have the advantage right now.
No strategist ultimates available, so Virtus.pro are going to have to be giving a little bit of point percentage. Actually, looks like they might just try and portal directly onto the point itself. They think that this is winnable.
If OG wants to win, they need to get the
Immediately
Luna.
though, Fire is going to fall. Enzo with such huge walls isolating all of these players. Kentu going for an aggressive play with the regeneration domain to deny any potential trades from going on out. OG more than happy to take the fight very quickly and hedge all of their bets. So Virtus.pro, if they did manage to find a pick, one, didn't have the opportunity to get Fire or Sparker into position to play quickly when OG were down the players mid-rotation. And two, OG held on to the ultimates.
Be able to.
Now, ultimate holdings are going to be the key thing, I think, just with how this one's going to go, because we haven't seen those like big impact ultimates, right? Nevic's been able to get these strangling prisons consistently. There's the copy, there's the thing that we expect, and perfect timing actually is the Dance of the Butterflies is going to be used. I think even the Fate of Both Worlds is going to be used more offensively on the side of Virtus.pro to get some damage boost and see if they can outpush and out-sustain it. But all of this just opens up the door for Sparker to try to cut through all of this noise. Whilst the teams are matching on progression of this point in front of the throne room, Virtus.pro going to take this back cleanly. Looking at the ultimates, you've got maybe a Fate of Both Worlds for Alex to contest this Galactic Legend, and another Eye of Agamotto that Snakes might be able to make a crazy play on, but not much else that might be available.
Yeah, Alex is going to have to be the player that OG are relying on this next fight to build up to that ultimate before Sparker gets their Kraken Impact, but they have no time. Sparker hits it fast with Kraken Impact as they all topple out of the portal. And Fate of Both Worlds has been pulled, but it's not for OG's end. Saipe uses their God of Mischief to go for an aggressive copy of a dance floor of their own. And heads will absolutely roll as...
Obnoxious. For the third time so far in his map.
Speaking about punishment, OG, while using that portal in the last fight on Throne Room, burnt a lot of Virtus.pro's ultimates. It burnt the portal cooldown. As both of these teams now are going to have to walk up. Body block is going to come through as Ken was hit by the absolute zero coming on out. OG do have the advantage if they want to take this aggressively quickly. They're going to have to make a move. Regeneration domain comes out early. Dreadbro was able to, with the shift, pierce through enough bodies to hit out the Fate of Both Worlds to keep everyone topped back up. And now it's going to be a matter of who can sustain better. Dance of the Butterflies into the back line comes on out from Phi as Etsu tries to win things out despite down the numbers. The copies and the Loki clones were still left on the field for the resets to come on through. And off of the back of that damage, OG will be able to establish the first point percentage.
You got some ultimates to work up towards at the same time. Not necessarily the support ultimates. They're going to be on available more so for Virtus.pro, but only because Saipe is at 76%, 90% almost. Eye of Agamotto is the only thing that right now Virtus.pro have available to them, and Finzi having a lot of pressure on him. There's less shields, less mitigation. This is so much damage, and yeah, an early regeneration domain means that this is go time for Virtus.pro.
Yeah, they're getting so incredibly aggressive. Finzi capitalizes on the disengagement.
Owning them on this
you might run away from Sparker, but you can't run away from the Doctor. An apple a day does not keep this player away. And Virtus.pro again off of the back of these Eye of Agamottos will be able to establish a pretty fast weapon fire already getting into position. He doesn't have the Dance of the Butterflies. This is purely to make sure that OG are delayed, stalled out in their approach. So they can't use Tanuki's Galactic Legend. But it's actually going to be a portal play that comes on through. They bypass the Psylocke scout check. And now it's up to Sparky yet again to catch them as they come through the portal. Because OG banked on the Loki copies through the portal, safeguarding their landing, and all it did was safeguard Sparker's numbers. So many resets come through from the Bucky, and we're down to another fight.
Oh, that's nasty from
Sparker. Look, Cypher's at 60,
set up from
I swear Cypher's gonna lock
with the cooldown,
fucking Ken, bro.
80, bro. Early regeneration domain. Most teams
Cypher nearly has a second, a fucking extra overdue. But Nevix does get hooked. Oh, Nevix is dead.
Speaking of which, you've got that ultimate being used again, the Fate of Both Worlds and the counter-attack.
If they can kill Cypher,
the impacts are getting their money's worth for both sides, but this time it's Etsu swinging things around pretty clean. seemingly, it didn't seem that Virtus Pro were really that happy to dedicate many bits of utility or ultimate stuff. Like, they were happy to just give it up because they still have the lead with progression and good ultimates on the way.
Yeah, OG very much okay with investing all of their ultimates, knowing that Virtus Pro didn't have access to anything that could have stopped the aggressive play. Will be able to find a flip, and now they've got Alex with the fate of both worlds to be able to stall through any duelist ultimate.
Let's see what Snake's can do for Stranger, bro.
God of Mischief is going to kick things off on the side of Virtus Pro. Fate of both worlds, but no! Disaster! Etsu finds the hook with the Bionic, but doesn't find the Trooper's Fist follow-up. And the wall from Nevik stops any potential damage that could have been done to the Vanguard. There's an opportunity for Virtus Pro to take. OG also going to try and find their own win condition because they've still got that point percentage. Tanuki with the iframes on the Star-Lord is still standing, still up in that sky. And with some of these players from Virtus Pro falling, it now comes down to a potential scout check. Can OG figure out where exactly the Starlock and the Starlock can pop up? Can they take them down before they can tap on and activate overtime? Yes, they absolutely can. OG are the first team ever to pull not just one map from Virtus Pro, but two.
OG's real serious, bro.
Proper series in a best of their domination maps. It really seems that Virtus Pro, whilst they're good at essentially every map in comparison, it really does feel that it's these convoy ones, the pure payload,
VP
no
selection
like
because they lost.
conversion, hybrid elements to it, no objective point to fight over. They want to play the payload ones, simply I imagine because they're so good at positioning, taking fights, taking timings, going for flanks as well, which probably unlocks a good element of what Fi can bring to the table.
We got a Wolverine protection potentially. They banned the Star-Lord.
The Star-Lord is banned.
Tanuki is free to go for the Wolverine if he wants it.
And Tanuki wants
Virtus Pro not going to be able to have Fi onto that Hella OG. Consistent in taking that one off immediately. It's going to be a name of protection. Yeah, this is so Virtus Pro. They're fine with letting the Wolverine through because Namor with the monster spawns is going to be able to spy check and do enough damage poking away at the Wolverine before he tries to find that engagement. That Tanuki might not find the same level of value as he was looking at, but with the Namor being a protection,
because Nevik is not going to be able to play this
Luna ban coming through from the side of OG to make sure that the Namor doesn't have as much damage to his name.
It probably feels that the support backline is going to be Loki still, unless the second band out here. No, the Groot is actually going to be taken out. Which, when you've got the Groot taken out, the Wolverine available, it is time for the Medics thing. On a map that seems pretty apt, considering that you have got like the Fantastic Four, Herbie scuttling along. And it's going to be a pretty gnarly battle that's happening. And really now, because we haven't seen Virtus Pro being put onto this level of a back foot before, any strategies that they've been sat on and maybe sandbagging in, now is the time to use them. This is the best chance, I think, to put them onto a third map and tournament point. But I'm really curious to see.
Since be able to gather back to themselves. So hopefully this time around it's going to be finding more fire. I'm definitely not opposed to it if you can time it at the same time as Tanuki is looking for a little bit of a hit. You can already see that everyone from OG is trying to go for this pincer play.
Looks like pretty much the same
and actually the Wolverine and Bucky going to be taken to that left side, so that Virtus Pro feel very much overwhelmed in all of the angles. Force could potentially stop Enzo from getting safely back to his team, but the shield for the Venom is still going to be available, and he's only going to be battering up for Ken and Alex.
I think OG might win this, bro. I know they don't really like those masks, but
sitting in the inside areas, and once this guy tries to come through on the side of Enzo, he's going to be pulled out of position, sliced down. Regeneration domain is going to keep him alive, and Tanuki is actually going to keep that pressure cooking on the side. That elimination opens up the space a little bit more, and Enzo finally finds that feast. He went down to what seemed like 50, 40 HP, but that support that comes in from the Loki, again from Ken, means that they're able to keep alive some form of a fight back here for Virtus Pro. But much like Yggdrasil's path, Moxie, it feels that they've dissipated this first point rather quickly.
Yeah, Fire's going to be going over off the Storm, so we are going to be seeing the damage boost as well as speed amp potential coming out for the defensive side. And remember, OG do not have one. but Etsu can still try and hook fight out of the air, both with the Bionic and also with that E. Invisible Boundary is going to be invested from the side of Dridro. Snaze holds on to the meteor emissary, trying to attempt a counter to it. Nevix with a 4-person clobbering time.
Etsu just
but
ulted
Etsu
blind,
is able to get fight out of the sky, and he's still going. Sparker looks to take his mirror down and stop the Kraken. In fact, mid-ultimate, and he's been the hero of the hour
OG does have the advantage, bro.
Tanuki might be able to hold on to this defense off of the back of his heroics yet again.
Snaze sniped Didri, beautiful.
Actually is helping out Snaze get the catch over with the mag cannon, diving in to clear this point up, and Virtus Pro really for the first time in the series looking a little bit out of sorts. It was a good fight back, some crazy shots that came in from Sparker, for example. Really got Etsu diving on the point with the Kraken's impact, but a very quick time. I am getting sort of deja vu for what we saw in the Yggdrasil's Moxie. Like this could be a really good time set here for OG. But if they lose a fight in the middle of this map, they can get stuck here very quickly.
I's gonna have an Omega Hurricane, but Ken on that Loki is gonna have access to the regeneration domain, so they don't have to worry about building up an ultimate to supplement the damage it can output. And is also going to be scouting and keeping Nevix's position, looking at the Venom rather than setting up for the clobbering time, which comes through now. Regeneration domain comes out. This is the go time for fight. Regeneration domain has been taken out.
Like, sure, bro, I can displace you, but I can do the fucking
collapsing onto the Loki in behind. But in the meantime, so much time was spent. Ken was able to battery up the Goddess of Mischief and just copies his Invisible Woman to get the boundary up. And Fire's ultimate finds nothing.
You got Invisible Boundary now to allow Dridro a push up in a fight if they want to, but I don't think any ultimates want to be dedicated here. It can just be banked up on this defense for Virtus Pro. It's a position where Herbie's stuck just right under this high ground. Feels like Virtus Pro, how are they going to position? How are they going to leverage this part of the map where you don't really see the payload stuck all that often?
Tanuki wanted to try and come in from that left side approach. Unfortunately, takes a lot of attention fire from the members of Virtus Pro by entirely uncontested currently. As Sparker is the one keeping everyone on OG's attention. That Kraken impact demands you to look at the Winter Soldier. And Storm is able to take advantage of the chaos that ensues. Virtus Pro will retain control of this defense. Still have this high ground too, which is going to be problematic for Tanuki. Try and find an opening. Any single time that he goes for a feral grab, he's either going to be pushed away by Dridro with the force physics, or Finzi could just aid the Bulwark. He's going to get grabbed out, but the Bulwark is there for the Magneto's own benefit. And Finzi just hops back to his team.
Look at all this peel.
Damage boost.
You got the Venom trying to dive in, low targets, but good healing with the Invisible Woman being able to shoot through people and cleave it out. It means that if you group it up, regeneration domain, it's all the same. Just instead of being picked apart, pulled apart in different directions and hunted down into sort of these back alleys on the sides of the map, you just group up and out-sustain all of the damage coming your way. With no Lunar Snow either, you don't have the damage boost with those ult combinations. So it does mean that Virtus Pro can sit pretty. No ultimates dedicated in that last fight. They're sitting on almost 5, both support ultimates that were used in that final big fight where Virtus Pro regained control. Almost available again.
Snaze is going to go for the Strange just to potentially portal everybody. So they can try and contest this high current approach. Tanuki actually just denied the distance to do any sort of impact with these duelists. This Ken does have the God of Mischief. Sci-Fi is building up to one of their own, though. And in terms of ultimate economy, it's strongly in Virtus Pro's advantage currently. God of Mischief kicks off the fight at the beginning. Omega Hurricane from fight cuts through the entire team before joining everybody in his backline, catching the Doctor Strange at the same time too. And Fizz Boundary now comes from Dridro's side. Finzi holds the Meteor M as well, so that no one from OG can try and trespass into the ultimate. And the regeneration domain, we saw this from Domination. Virtus Pro sensing the weakness that OG, the lack of resources. They get aggressive, they snowball the fight, understanding that with the time bank left, OG have no opportunity, no resources available to them. They might be able to portal into the fight, but they have no win condition to see it through.
No ultimates really available yet on the defense either, outside of Sci-Fi having a God of Mischief. I don't think the portal's going to be an option. They have to just do it by foot the old-fashioned way.
Just
and with
baited out the
Sparker
images
just sitting up
super
back,
early.
you can almost see the reposition. The tanks on the right-hand side, waiting to just haymaker and poke as this fight goes on. People being knocked up into the air, makes them clay pigeons for Sparker, who's in the backline trying to get some support. He's dove on the storm, surging up the power in the aura. The lightning damage is grand. I don't know if we see much from the Eye of Agamotto there when it comes on to actual connections, but the Meteor M going to attempt to find something down on the ground. They can. With both storms just shooting down an invisible boundary now, actually coming in from Ken as it's copied across, and there's an Omega Hurricane for Etsu. They're not even towards the end of this checkpoint. They have to stay on this payload and push it about halfway. One more good fight in it, it feels like, over for Virtus Pro. You got a clobbering time, and actually a lot of ultimates on the horizon.
OG looking to get aggressive. Tanuki cannot afford to get scattered on. He has got the dance of the butterflies. But like you said, Virtus Pro have a lot of stall potential. The respawn's so close. Clobbering time from Nevix entirely unblockable. Omega Hurricane is going to start putting a lot of chaotic in terms of the overall positions, forcing everybody to have to hug that payload and invisible boundary. Nevix is going to get an absolute yellow brick road to come through the clobbering time if he feels like it, but they might not need it. Sparker takes advantage of OG's forced positioning. The clobbering time hits the entire team, and right into the backline, the Bucky flies. Again and again and again. And it just felt like the swaps that we saw coming out from OG's were just a little bit too late. The Storm and the Psylocke find so much value finally being able to push them through from the choke because, you know, Psylocke has stealth. She can literally just
mostly because of this first point, how quickly they lost it themselves.
18 seconds.
Well, Ryan, put the kettle on. We're going to be stuck watching absolutely nothing for the next 10 seconds because Snaze went for the portal block. I do like the fact that they're prematurely breaking a lot of this terrain so that Virtus Pro can't get surprise angles against the players of OG on that defense, but going for that portal block play, even though you're holding close, means that you can't go for a portal recontest if you lose this positioning early on. As we can see, Enzo just having to avoid all of that chaos coming through from Finzi, who got a little bit of team up synergy from the Skull, which out of the gates to start supercharging up that first meteor.
The Mago.
A lot of damage is already through with the E, and the hook attempted to blocked, I think, by some of the shields that we're seeing from the Stranges. There's a lot of damage being taken in the end from Snaze, and actually Ken being able to grab up a very quick God of Mischief. Like you mentioned, there wasn't really much action for the 10 seconds, so the fact that this ultimate is out and available already is quite surprising. He's going for the flank play.
Land the hook, but he did actually put enough paranoia into Saipe that the regeneration domain was burned. However, Virtus Pro still finding the eliminations that they're looking for. It's an attempt for OG to hold on to their space. Invisible boundary is going to be making it a little bit harder for Virtus Pro to walk in. And then Alex is going to be double layering it on up, but it's going to be echoed by Dridro's own regeneration domain. It's going to come through from the side of OG's Alex. Saipe is going to have access to theirs in the next couple of moments, given how early it was faded on out. And Dredro now with the force physics gets aggressive, grabbing onto those Vanguard players, potentially managing to catch on to a couple of staggers too.
It's going to clear on through to try to put OG into bad positions. They're really just trying to regroup and contest this towards the end, but you can see the Virtus Pro scaling up nicely. They're finding the picks, but they're actually being traded out better than you might expect. The contest has to happen here and on lower health with tanks. And Omega Hurricane having to come through now actually on this defensive side of OG. It isn't enough to stop this juggernaut trucking on through for Virtus Pro. A good amount of time, similar to what OG were able to do. But I have to imagine that they know better. They're taking this space preemptively to not get stuck in the same spot that OG did.
Oh my god.
No, not Etsu. If they get the pick on the Bucky, it's going to be so much harder for the defenders to rally their numbers. Thankfully, there's enough pressure from the regrouping players. The team core shows up when needed. And Etsu will be able to survive and make it back. But look at how much space this payload has picked up. We're almost to the very last fight. High ground is attempted to be taken. Nevix interrupts the rotation. And in the meantime, because no one from OG has stepped up to the plate, the payload is still moving entirely unimpeded. Every single time someone tries to anchor the position and slow it, Nevix is there to punish. Invisible boundary comes on through from Dridro. The Bulwark on to the thing, make sure that he can hold that position and build up to clobbering time. And there's the combo.
Oh my god,
clobbering
bro,
time
the setup for
as Virtus Pro hit the win condition. competition. And once again, the wombo combo was felt.
This is a pretty simple play,
have to play this next fight perfectly,
this
otherwise this map's done.
It's
a tight window that OG had available to them, right? It felt that they had the ultimate advantage, but like you mentioned, they were sort of in and out of that engagement. They didn't know if they wanted to fully dedicate. And in that time, Greedro builds up an invisible boundary, and the payload makes it past that awkward choke. The high ground becomes less useful, and OG kind of gets shuttered off. Virtus.pro still with less than 3 minutes on the clock, able to just back up a little bit more. See, that invisible boundary was used from Alex, maybe wasted potentially. Etsu having a Kraken's impact, it might be all to play for that, or it could be tournament point on the horizon for Virtus.pro.
And the Hurricane is on the board for fire. No strategist ultimate to shut it down. It's going to be the Meteor M to stop the approaching team from capitalizing on the space that the storm can create. Instead, Tanuki trying to build up to the dance of the butterflies that he can keep himself, and that damage continued on.
Oh my god.
Finzi's Meteor M is the slam dunk Virtus.pro needs.
Don't on him.
But unfortunately,
relatively happy with that result.
They may have changed strategies.
I mean, you have to add on another hour as well that they probably played, because teams do like to do a 1 hour warm-up before every single time they go into tournaments, just as we like to see every team take into account the hero pool of the players they match up against. So no surprises, it's going to be a hella insta-ban coming on through instead of OG, so if I doesn't get access to that. A Starlord protection this time again, once more, so that Tanuki's hero pool is going to be protected. And this is actually really smart from Virtus.pro. They've seen that the Starlord's going to be protected, that OG are going to be trying to run a flyer, and they've gone for the name of protection. So even if Luna is banned on the side of OG in response, especially since Loki got banned out now, that's going to put a lot of pressure on the strategist roles. You're not going to have that same level of burst healing as you would with the Loki and Luna backline. It's going to have to be something like an Inviswoman and potentially a Cloak and Dagger?
That's the thing, right? Like, we're so used to seeing either Loki, Luna Snow, or Invisible Woman. That seems to be like the main three support strategists that are rotated out. Outside of that, you could maybe say some elements of the Rocket Raccoon, right, with the ammo overload combo to enable the Winter Soldier. But that feels niche at the best of times. We have seen the likes of Fnatic like ban it out.
Potential coming on through. We might see Saipe, like you said, stick with that Rocket Raccoon. Might be a swap over to something like the Cloak and Dagger for the brawl potential with the AoE off the primary. But it does seem like Saipe is actually going to be sticking with it to be able to team up with the infinite ammo for Sparker, who now is going to be under even more damage burst potential. The one that Dive tries to hit into that backline.
Right now, Snaze
just only have one defensive.
Sitting on the point, not being afraid. You got some support that's coming in from Enzo up on the high ground. On that Venom might be unleashed to find these dive timings, but it's hard work at the best of times. Denzi finding the first elimination of this map and maybe the last map of this tournament, full stop.
Sparker's gonna be
onto Etsu of all people. Means that Sparker has a chance to try to catch up when it comes to the damage, even getting the eliminations. 5 flying ahead means that whilst the ultimates aren't quite available to lock in for either team, that's still a pretty clean fight for Virtus.pro to win out.
Yeah, and it started so well too for OD. A really good force physics pull onto Finzi, forced Virtus.pro to have to try and peel for that Magneto, but there's just so much burst damage. Saipe saw Enzo trying to knack the dive, dropped the Z, and Sparker got access to a faster firing rate and infinite ammo to be able to chunk down the Venom's health pool before Tanuki could lend a helping hand.
They haven't killed
and now with Virtus.pro in control of the point, they can get ready to disrupt the engagement before OG have the position to take the dive.
Now Finzi trying to sort of peel for some of the harassment. A dog barking up a tree is what Enzo looks like right now, trying to shoot the Starlord out of the sky. He's always perpetually on sort of 40% of his health, but he's still going up until now. That combination, the extra little bit of ammo and the fire rate that comes in from the ammo overload combination with Rocket means that he clears up without even needing to use that Kraken's impact.
And it's going to have solar resurgence, but that's not going to be a lot of healing output. Saife did have to sacrifice the Seer. That's why that fight was so short and so one-sided. Everyone from Virtus Pro was tethered to that Cosmic Yawn, was getting amplified 40% of the damage input. And OG in the past have been more than satisfied to bank up 6 ultimates and then come to the table to play when they absolutely put everything on the line. You can see Virtus Pro trying to make sure that position very split and scattered so that those multiple ultimates aren't going to catch each other. Finzi playing outside of the Invis boundary, also making sure to act as an interruption in case OG try and counterplay it early.
The 5 ultimates in the server at one point, and 3 were dedicated, maybe 5 total, I think, from OG, and it's just the one elimination to their name. Tanuki's rather late, not belated, but just well-timed Galactic Legend, but 5 manages to hold out a little bit longer, waiting for all of these defensive ultimates for OG to drop before they reach to the sky, and they take down everybody on OG's side.
Bro, I think
wasn't
twice
a contest,
just
there wasn't
lost
a flip. This is just
map.
0 to 100% on the side of Virtus Pro. They must be feeling eager. OG maybe free falling because they don't have that support backline to rely on. I mean, then the reverse sweep came in from OG, but it feels here that they don't necessarily have the tools to work with. There's the Cloak and Dagger that's actually coming out from Alex. Whereas, I know that Line Pro's watch fighting this, I imagine he's pointing at the Rocket Raccoon being like, this is why we banned it. I'm not crazy. There's a legitimate reason to take this character out. And Virtus Pro sat on this till the very end.
Yeah, Alex, like you said, going for the Cloak and Dagger, the double shield. Snails and Enzo both going to be playing a lot more stacked together, so that AoE dagger heal on the primary with the 8-meter radius is going to be felt so much more effectively, building up to that first Eternal Bond. But VP's Nevix is going to be the thing that gets felt for the most part on OG's end. The thing goes crashing into the front line. Fine Spark could get a green pass, and that's OG. No matter how much staying potential, the burst heal that is allocated to the Invisible Woman and the Cloak and Dagger just is not enough to keep everybody standing through Saife's amplifier.
Run triple support, bro. Etsu can't stop dying.
The terrain to just get to the high ground here to try to set things up.
And Sparker just
Virtus Pro hold position to take it all. Nevix with a clobbering time. That combined with Sparker's Kraken's impact has been really the mainstay of combos to be watching. A clean sweep if everybody on the side of OG ends up grouped together, but you can already sort of see the damage that Tanuki is doing from this left-hand side, keeping Sparker's attention a little bit split. Wants to try to go for the hook, actually does connect him. We didn't see that from his perspective, but he managed to take Tanuki out of the sky, and then Fi clears up. That's a crazy grab from that angle.
Kraken, in fact, is attempted. OG having to make something work. They invested the Eternal Bond into this fight. They need to win it. Virtus Pro going to be utilizing that invis boundary so they can sustain past the ramifications of the Eternal Bond before Sparker hits the ultimate. Nevix, I think, was actually CC'd outside of his. And unfortunately, that does give all of the staying potential to OG. The wombo was done, but the combo was not available. And Alex, with the phase from the right click of that cloak, is going to be able to keep everybody up through those hits. Snaze has the Eye of Agamotto. This was the flip that OG needed. Now they can start picking apart Nevix before he has the opportunity to crash into this fight and create an opening, but they have to be so careful because Saife has got the Seer, and if OG play their cards wrong, they're going to be saying goodbye to the title.
Alex at 46%.
Picking up, but you've got to imagine a Virtus Pro comfortable here. Eye of Agamotto coming out very early on from OG, but it only catches the stun over to Sparker. The Seer comes in, and the damage burst means that kills are sort of traded out for the most part here. OG doing their best to hold on, hiding behind whatever terrain they can, but when Sparker is absolutely setting OG on fire, it could be lighting the torch for them and lighting them to a first Invitational win. Points going to be switched on over, and OG really don't have much. A Kraken's impact, you've got the Eternal Bond from Alex and Ken. If he can get that invisible boundary online soon, it's going to be needed. The teleport coming in with the portal. Nemec's getting in close.
It's not on to point though. They went for the surprise factor, trying to drop onto the heads of Virtus Pro, but the perception check is passed. No damage. And unfortunately, Alex's Eternal Bond, the healing just isn't enough that you can't stack up those dashes. Meteor M comes on through from Finzi. Ken trying to make it harder for the Magneto to pick up the target through the invisible boundary that's going to be invested. Sparker utilizes the Kraken impact to stop himself from dropping off of the map and remaining in the fight. And this is just Virtus Pro taking a bow as they'll be able to round themselves off of
Disaster class from
OG tried to defy history and tradition the last time these two teams matched up. It was a clean sweep, a 4-0 for the side of Virtus Pro. But Virtus Pro will still be able to see themselves the top dog of the EMEA region after all.